Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Hi, Joanne. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Isabel. Bonjour, ça va? Nice to hear. Oh, plus 16. That's wonderful, Jessica. Hi, Paul. It's snowing in Halifax. It's raining here. So it's a very dark and dull day here. Belmont. Hi, Ryan. We are going to get started at noon, or I guess 1 o'clock in the east, noon here in Winnipeg, and I guess it's 10 o'clock in the morning out in Cold Lake, or 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, 11, right. So we'll get started shortly. Hi, Brittany. Nice to see you, Jessica. Thanks. All right, welcome to the second presentation in our resiliency program. I'm just going to share my slides with you so that you can follow on. I will be getting rid of my picture very shortly so that you don't have to look at me and you can pay attention to the slides. Not many today, but there are a few. So today we're going to look at bouncing back for our resilience. But before we get started, there's just a few things that I would like to talk to you about. First off, today is the National Day of Mourning. So I just wanted to remind people that today is a really good day to remember all those who have died or been made ill or injured from their work. So if you can, find some time today to remember those who have been affected by this. And I'm thinking especially sort of poignant or important at this time when so many of us have been affected by COVID-19, and it has really changed how we work in our organizations. So just wanted to add that for this morning before we get started. So my name is Diane Bryan. I am the Health Promotion Manager here at 17 Wing Winnipeg, and I am very happy to be here with you. Today's program is going to be approximately 1 hour, I think. We'll do all our discussion through the chat box. I will not be putting on anybody's microphones or sharing anybody's pictures, so we'll just use the chat box for any questions or concerns or comments. And I think that's it. I'm going to disappear and we will start the presentation. And how we could start to grow our resilience with some tools. So we looked at grounding, we looked at mindfulness, and we looked at goal setting last week. So today we're going to continue our journey down that river in that raft and look at things that we can do to bounce back. So before we get started, just a quick poll to find out where we are. So what I'd like you to do is just to find out who's all on the line. So are you a military member, are you a civilian employee and a family member, or are you in other? Wonderful. So lots of military members on the webinar today. Thank you very much for joining. All right. So again, one more quick actually question on a poll would be, what I'd like to know is, are you returning to this webinar, or is this the first time because you missed the first one? Okay, so almost 50-50 people coming for the first time and then some returning. All right. And using your chat boxes, I'm just interested to know, did you attend the webinar yesterday from Maya on stress management? Okay. All right. I attended it as well and listened to it. So some of the things that Maya had talked about yesterday, we are going to talk about today. So there will be some overlap. I apologize for that for anybody who was on the webinar yesterday, but I think it's really important for this section of building our resilience. So before we get started, just to remind you that this presentation you're about to view is the intellectual property of the Department of National Defense. So any reproduction or transmission of the slides contained in this presentation is strictly forbidden. So some of the topics on this webinar may be of a sensitive nature. So I know that most of you are probably working from home and you may have children around. So we just ask that you use your discretion with the material that we're discussing. Please understand that the stories that people have heard before, or the stories that people are telling are theirs alone to tell, and anything that is shared by the participants in this webinar, either on camera or in chat, are not to be discussed outside this webinar. So like Vegas, what happens in the webinar stays in the webinar. And this webinar is being recorded and will be available for viewing later on cafconnection.ca. It's my understanding actually that they're creating a YouTube channel to host all our videos, so they'll be able to be viewed there. So although we want active participation, you may simply follow along without using the chat box to make any comments, and you'll still get something out of it. And you will be able to listen to the ones we missed. They are either going up this week or next week up on the YouTube channel. So please stay in contact with CAF Connection, and they'll let you know how you can find the videos, the webinars from previous weeks. All right, so for those of you who are here, this is the outline for today. We're going to look at goal setting, and I want to know how you did with your homework. How was it creating a goal, and whether you've had any barriers to moving forward towards that goal. We're going to look at the stages of change, look at making choices, and we're going to end the webinar looking at visualization. So what were some barriers that you might have had in your goal setting from last week? How did the goal setting go? Were you able to create a SMART goal? Motivation. Good. Nice to hear that, Rob. But completed the SMART goal. Okay, that works. As long as you got it completed. Good. Yes, yes. It was motivated to do so. Nice to hear. Okay, that's wonderful. So we're going to look at something that may have been a barrier to a successful setting a successful. Can you put out the worksheet for those who missed it to know what a SMART goal is? I will attempt to do that. Yes, I'll see if I can do that. If not, I will, if you can, I will leave my email address at the end of this, and you can send me an email, and I will forward you the SMART goal sheet. So you will know what it looks like. Does that sound fair? Okay. No problem. All right, so we're going to look at stages of change, because I think that can be one of those barriers to being able to be successful in a SMART goal and to move forward. And I think it has a lot of impact on how we move forward with our resilience. It can really be a stopper. So we're going to watch first a short video. It's about 3 minutes long. That's going to go over the stages of change.
So I was walking through town the other day and I was walking through town the other day and came across a change machine. I put $1 in, but nothing happened. It just gave me my money back. Yuck, 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 yuck. You know what I mean, right? Change. It could be a doozy. People sign up for new exercise programs, nutrition programs, basically change programs every day. But we don't always get the results we're looking for. Instead, we get distracted, start making excuses, but really, this can be normal depending on what stage of change you are at. What do I mean? Well, one of my favorite books about effectively cultivating change is called Changing for Good, written by a group of doctors who discovered that there are 6 stages of change that people go through before they can finally touch success. What they've discovered has become the #1 tool used by the National Cancer Institute in helping smokers quit for good. So let's quickly step through them, because understanding these stages could make or break your results in any program you do. The first stage of change is pre-contemplation. These people have some sort of issue or problem, but don't even recognize that they have this problem. Who? Me? Nah. This is particularly relevant when a nutrition or exercise program is bought for someone else, but they don't use it because they think they don't need it. Not a lot of traction here. The second stage is contemplation. These people are finally like, yeah, there's that thing that should probably change, but I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow. And tomorrow. At that magical place where there's always free beer. The third stage is preparation. These people are actually taking steps toward resolving their issue or concern. They might sign up for a nutrition program as an example. They're talking a big game. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I want to do it. And that brings us to the fourth stage, action. Going from I want to I am. I do. It is done. You can go on wanting your goal your whole life, but wanting and doing are 2 completely different beasts. This stage separates the wanters from the doers. And yes, the biggest gap of all lies between these 2 stages right here. The 5th stage comes after you've implemented, after action. It is the maintenance stage. This stage is by far the most important stage, because after action, will you maintain the program, or will you just go back to your old habits? People who don't make it through this stage are referred to as what? Going into relapse, right? But if you do maintain, hold strong, allow this program to become fully integrated into your life, then you will reach the 6th and final stage, termination. The program is over. Because once the program, the refined habits, this new lifestyle fully becomes one with your life, then there's no more program to follow. The program has dissolved. It has disappeared within you. You are it, and you have fully achieved your goal. This is what Gandhi is talking about when he said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So now, what stage of change are you in right now, and what are you going to do about it?
While the video was on. So I'll start that again. So the video and this diagram show you the stages of change. So the first stage of change, pre-contemplation, is sort of that stage where we don't even know that a problem exists, or we don't even know that there's a need to change. We kind of are accepting where we are right now, and we're just living in that zone. This is how I'm going to be. This is what I have to do. This is how my life is going to be. I'm stuck here. And that's pre-contemplation. Contemplation stage is when we start to think, well, maybe there's more I could be doing. Maybe there is something that I could do to make a change. Maybe there's something that I could be doing, but not really moving too much forward. Preparation stage is when we actually decide that we're going to start looking into it. So what would I need to do? What would I need to do in order to affect this change? If I was looking at wanting to start a running program or something, what I would have to do is look at, so what do I need to do to prepare myself for a running program? What would I need to do? I might be researching different organizations that maybe could help me, looking at what shoes I would need, what routes, how I would do it, what physically do I need to be able to do. And that would be all the preparation stage. Then the action stage is when you're actually involved in doing it. So for those of you who set those goals, for you that are actually moving forward towards those goals, right? The action stage. So if again go back to running now, I'm actually starting to do the running, to move forward, to learn how to run correctly, doing my 1 minute walk, 1 minute run, so that I'm doing it well. And then finally, you would move into the maintenance stage, where you're maintaining that activity or that new lifestyle that you have changed into. Now, the video talked about a termination stage, and I'm not sure that anybody ever actually goes through termination in the stages of change. I think you pretty much always live in sort of that maintenance stage, keeping that new change going within you. And if you don't, then you have a relapse and you move backwards, but you can easily move back into those stages of change, and not necessarily starting back at pre-contemplation or contemplation, but back maybe to preparation to get you back into action again. If you were to ask anybody who has an addiction, they would say that there really is never termination, that they are always in sort of that maintenance stage, which is why I kind of agree that I don't think you ever actually go out of maintenance, that you stay there for the full time. Are there any questions about the stages of change? All right, chat box is quiet, so all must be good. So I guess why discuss stages of change in a presentation about resilience? What does the stages of change have to do with resilience? And I think most importantly, it has to do with, we need to understand where we are. If I need to make changes in my lifestyle to become more resilient, if I want to be able to bounce back from any upset or heartache, I have to be able to understand where I am within those stages of change. Where am I right now? So we're going to look at overcoming those barriers and being able to bounce back. We're going to look at 3 more mental fitness tools that can help us continue on our journey. We're going to look at changing perception or perspective. We're going to look at gratitude, and then mental rehearsal visualization. So for those of you who were on the webinar yesterday with Maya, you would have seen this personal power grid. And Maya went over it and discussed it. And this tool is really an important tool to understand how we can start to bounce back. This personal power grid looks at things that I have control and things that I don't have control. So when we're talking about things that we have control over, what are some of those things? Take a moment and write that down in the chat box. Our thoughts and actions, for sure. My emotions, absolutely, Anik. So what we have control of is ourselves, everything to do with me. I don't have any control over anybody else. So those things, when I don't have control, that would be everything outside of me. Excuse me, I just took air down the wrong hole. Now you don't have any audio either, Jonathan. I am on. I knew know that. So things that I don't have control over, everything that's outside of me. I don't have control over other people. I don't have control over other things. I definitely don't have control over COVID-19 and what it's doing to me right now, and forcing me to work out of my basement or learning how to deal with new things. Those are all things that I don't have control over. But with either of those two things, we have choices. We can either take action to do something about it or not take any action. So for those things that we have control over, when we take action, what we do is we master what's going on. It's about mastery. So if you think about time management, which is something that I have control over, I can control how I manage my time. If I choose to learn how to manage my time, if I take the action to figure out how to, whether it's by using calendars or checklists or planners, then what I'm doing is mastering how to have control over my time management. If I don't take any action about my time management, I just go around like quitting or giving up, going, well, I guess I'm just going to be late. I guess you guys are just going to have to deal with the fact that I'm going to be late or I'm never going to be on time. And if that's the case, then what happens is I'm adding a whole lot of stress onto myself because I'm always running behind. I'm always playing catch up. So that's how that side of the personal power grid works. The other side, those things that we don't have control over, so like COVID-19, if I try to take action because I want to go back to work, I want everything to be normal again, things should be just as they are, it's kind of hanging on. And that, again, is going to give me a lot of stress and anxiety. But if I choose to accept that this is my new reality, that my workspace is now in my basement, and that I need to be social distance from my coworkers and learn how to deal things differently, then I'm accepting that and I'm able to let go of that control that I'm trying to have. Does that make sense? Great. One of the things that resilient people tend to have is they tend to know that there are things that we can change and that there are things we cannot change. So being able to focus on those things that I can change is really helpful. So when we have no control, focusing on our emotions or how we see things or how we deal things, absolutely, that serenity prayer is really helpful in us dealing with that and being able to let go and move forward. So tapping into what's happening inside of us. All right. Now we're going to move over into looking at perspective and perception. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. So it's important to understand how that works. So we need to look at how we're looking at things. What's our perspective? What's our frame? We go back to that personal power grid. Where am I? Am I trying to hang on or am I accepting what's happening? Right? So that frame that we have that we're looking at is like the mental filter that happens in the how stress happens process. And we need to be able to reframe by changing that frame by asking, is there another way to look at this? So here are some examples of reframing. We can look, instead of looking at a problem as a problem, we could look at it perhaps as an opportunity or a challenge, right? So for many of us dealing with COVID-19, we've looked at this situation as an opportunity. It's not a problem that we can't get into our offices. It's now an opportunity to try new ways of reaching people and being able to do our jobs. looking at a weakness instead of a weakness, but as a strength. An impossibility as perhaps maybe not today, but maybe distant possibility. Maybe I can do that later, or distant possibility is maybe a near possibility. It could happen soon. Looking at oppression, everybody hates me, everybody's against me, as really not that they are against you, it's just that they don't care about me, that what I'm doing is not important. So some of the things that have been put in place because of COVID-19, they didn't ask me about this because they've got bigger things to look at, right? They're not doing it to get back at me. It's just that they don't really care what I have to say about it. They need to do what's best for the protection of the country. So that's okay. And then thinking of unkindness to people as maybe they just don't understand where you're coming from. So we need to be able to refrain by changing our perception, by understanding something in another way. Being able to think about things in a variety of ways helps build a spectrum of understanding. So another way you can do it is by switching perspectives, right? So I talked about this earlier in a webinar that I did on self-talk. Looking at, will it matter 5 years from now? If it's not, the answer is no. If it won't matter 5 years from now, then it's not important and I need to let it go. If the answer is yes, then I need to give it the attention it deserves. Go back to that personal power grid. Is there something that I have some control over in whatever it is that I'm dealing with? Do I have some control over some piece of that personal power grid? What are those things that I don't have control over? So what are those things that I can master? And what are those things that I need to accept and let go? So I find that personal power grid really good at helping us to deal with changing that perspective, to be able to look at things in different ways. I'm going to share with you a handout. So what I've got, it's a little poem. What I would like you to do is I would like you to start, I'll give you a minute or two to do this, but I'd like you to read it from the top down. And then what I would like you to do is read it again from the bottom up, just to see how changing your perspective or changing your focus can help to change the meaning of what is going on. So I'll give you 2 minutes to be able to do that. All right. So let's move on now. Any comments about that handout? Okay, I really like this saying. When you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. That's where your power is. And really, this is what the personal power grid does too. Absolutely, depending on which way you read it. Yeah, take your time to read it slowly when you do it. But yeah, when you can't control what's happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond. And that's really what the personal power grid is all about. So now we're going to briefly look at gratitude, because gratitude can change everything. We're very good as human beings at focusing on what goes wrong, those things that aren't going well in our lives. If you were to look back at your day yesterday, you could probably go, well, this didn't go well, right? This went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong. And we tend not to focus on what is going well. So I challenge you to look at maybe perhaps what is actually happening that is going well in your lives, to focus on that positive. And that can be hard because our self-talk gets in the way. And sometimes we need to stop and reflect about what you're saying to yourself. What's causing you to feel angry? What's causing you not to be grateful for what's happening around you? It might even be good to write down your thoughts. That can help you to discover common patterns in your thinking and increase the speed of identifying or challenging their thoughts. But you need to challenge that negative thinking. Right? Often our negative thinking is untrue, unhelpful, and not productive. Therefore, the key is to challenge these thoughts and replace them with helpful thoughts. In order to do that, we need to ask ourselves some questions. The first one is consider the evidence. What's the evidence that supports or does not support your thinking? Why am I thinking that everything is terrible and that I can't see anything positive in what's going on? Am I certain about this, or am I guessing about what's going on? Have I confused a thought with a fact? Am I letting my emotions guide my thoughts? Next, consider the odds or chances that this thought will actually happen. As humans, we often predict the future. We're very good at fortune telling, and we predict that future negatively without considering other more likely options by using words like what if I fail. So can you challenge yourselves by asking, am I 100% sure that this is going to happen? Has this happened before? If it did happen, can I cope with it? And then third, consider what you would say to a friend or a friend would say to you when you're in that situation. So would you be as hard on a friend as you are on yourself? Or if you were describing this to a friend, would they be as hard on you as you are on yourself? Consider the words that you're using in your thinking. Are you using extreme words such as always, never, no one, nothing, and everything? Most situations are less clear cut than that, and is mostly a case of sometimes, some people, and some things. It's easier to believe the bad. I know gratitude is hard. It is. But if we tell ourselves helpful things, right? If we can challenge those negative thoughts and tell ourselves helpful things, that more positive, motivating ones, then it'll help us to see that other side and become more positive, and therefore being able to have some gratitude, right? So picking up on mantras that you can use. I can do this. I've got this. This is a good day. This isn't so bad, right? That's going to help you to focus on that positive. So often we'll have a negative thought like, oh, I should have done that better, or I can't make any mistakes. We need to challenge it by using the following questions. Considering that evidence, what's the evidence that supports or does not support my thinking? What's the advice of others? What would I tell my friend in the same situation? Consider the words. Am I expecting perfection in myself or others by using the words should or must? So maybe a more realistic thought would be, I will make mistakes, but I'll learn from them. I will do better next time. Right? That's how we can flip those things. And then by flipping that and looking at life through sort of those more positive lenses, and I'm not talking about getting running through fields of daisies and sunshine and rainbows and flowers and beautiful music playing. I'm not talking about necessarily that, but looking at what you've got that's positive and good, and allowing yourself to move forward. So looking at something positive to allow you to find that gratitude for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for those of you who were shared, were on the self-talk webinar with me, you also have already received this, but I wanted to share this with everybody. So this is a prescription for gratitude, for positive thinking, to look at things at a different way. So what it requires you to do is to think of 3 good things that have happened today. There have been lots of studies on this. There's a 6-month study on 3 good things out of, I believe, Australia, that looked at having people do that every day. And they were impressed by the amount of positivity or the changes of the increase in resilience that happened from these people who were doing this. So really, really interesting. But to be able to think of what actually did go well today, helping you to focus less on the negative, which we so easily can do, and look at what went well, what was positive about today. What did I learn from what was happening today? So if you're having problems with gratitude, try this. Try using that prescription sheet every day if you need to, thinking what actually went well today. It may be that you got dressed, you got out of bed, you got dressed. Maybe it was that you succeeded in something that you've been trying to do for a really long time. Whatever it is, take note of it, because that can help to build your resilience. The last thing that we're going to look at today, what to do with my kids. That's nice. What was your favorite part of the day? Absolutely. And getting them to focus on what was your favorite part of the day. I think we do that a lot with our children. What was the most fun you had at school today? Or what did you do today that was a lot of fun? And we tend not to do that to ourselves. And I think perhaps maybe we need to start doing that to ourselves. What did I do today that was fun? I actually watched a woodpecker try to put a hole in a telephone pole today. He was just going like crazy. I don't know if he got any food out of it though. But anyways, there are things that we can do. So what is the favorite part of your day? That is a great question to ask, Rob, and we should be asking everybody that question. All right. So this is a little cartoon that I found. And I think this is one of those things we do. When things are going well, we tend to worry. Oh, it can't be this good. Something must be going wrong. But maybe it can be this good. So take hope in that. So now we're going to move on to visualization. So visualize that thing that you want, see it, feel it, believe in it, make your mental blueprint and begin. So we're going to look at visualization. We're going to look at 2 pieces of visualization. We're going to look at mental rehearsal, and we're going to look at imagery. Both really good types of visualization, but both have very different results. So if you can imagine it and visualize it, you can create it. And I do believe that that is true. So first, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at that mental rehearsal. How many people use, just quickly in the chat box, how many people use visualization as a tool? Let me know yes or no. Okay. Not in a good way. Okay, Kelly. Use it when I'm competing in skeleton. Absolutely. Yeah. No. Okay. So some of you are and some of you aren't. So we're going to look at visualization. How do you visualize? Did I go back over? Okay. So looking first at mental rehearsal. When we want to do mental, I guess to understand how visualization works, we need to know, in order to understand visualization better, we need to know how visualization works. Because if we apply the technique mindlessly, it's not going to yield the desired results. So here's an explanation of how visualization works. Our mind is made up of two parts, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. We think with our conscious mind or rational mind, and whatever we think repeatedly sinks into our subconscious or creative mind. The subconscious mind is like a computer. It can't think on its own. It can't distinguish between good and bad, between true or false. It takes everything it receives on face value, whatever is presented to it. When the conscious mind presents the subconscious mind with the same thought again and again, it starts taking that thought seriously and sets to bringing it into existence. Our lifetime of experiences is stored in the subconscious mind to which it has access to. It also has access to the universal mind for which nothing is impossible. The other thing that's really important to understand about visualization is visualization. Our subconscious mind really likes pictures. It understands words well enough, but it really, really likes pictures. It's greatly influenced by pictures. So when we use visualization and send our brain pictures, that really helps to make our subconscious mind deliver to you whatever it is that you want. So when we look at visualization, there are some things that we need to remember. We need to have a goal. Why are we visualizing? So as Ben said, he uses it first when he's doing skeleton to be able to focus on the run. Lots of athletes will visualize what their performance is going to look like. They'll practice it over and over again. And to be able to visualize what it's going to look like. Where are you going? Where are you in the course? Where are you in the performance? Where are you in the arena, or wherever it happens to be? That type of visualization. The other group that I know uses visualization a lot are pilots. Pilots chair fly all the time. And that's a form of visualization that helps them prepare for the flight, to learn the things that they need to do. So you need to have a goal. What is your goal for this visualization? What are you planning to do? So you need to be very, very important about that. You need to be relaxed. You need to relax yourself. So take a few deep breaths. Become grounded. Become mindful so that you can prepare yourself to focus on the task that you need to do. You need to be clear. You need to create images that are clear and as accurate as you can. Put yourself into the picture. If you're learning how to fly a plane, you need to be sitting in the cockpit of that plane, learning how to fly that plane, actually being there. If you're learning how your trip down the course is going to be in skeleton, you have to be on the skeleton to be able to do that. You have to put yourself in that moment. So you need to visualize yourself actually doing it. Your subconscious brings forth exactly what it is shown on a regular basis. So you need to go over and over it again. You need to be vivid. When you paint mental pictures, add bright and beautiful colors. Add the smells, the noise, the sounds that you would hear. What do you see around you? So if you're chair flying, it's the vibrations of the plane, it's the smell, the heat that might be in there if you're flying in the summer. If it's the wintertime, it might be a little cold in the airplane. So all those things you would bring with you as you're sitting there practicing whatever maneuver or whatever you are practicing. You need to use a present reality. Subconscious mind only deals in the present. It doesn't deal in any other time period. So the conscious mind may label the event as happening in the future, But for your subconscious mind, for visualization to work, it must be in the present moment. So you need to be actively doing it in the present right now. And you need to be successful at whatever you're doing. Doesn't matter what it is, but you need to be doing your, whatever it is that you're visualizing has to be successful. You don't want to train your brain to do something wrong. You don't want to train your brain to not be successful, to fail at something. That's not saying that I can't think of practicing something. If I have a mistake or an error, how do I fix that? That's an absolutely good use of visualization, but you want to see yourself being successful at the end. If you find yourself making a mistake or not being successful, start back at the beginning and repeat that process, right? Mentally rehearse successful performance of that activity over and over and over again. The more you do it, the better off you will be. And make no judgments. Right? The only thing that makes something good or bad is thinking that it makes it good or bad. So the subconscious mind, like I said, doesn't differentiate between good or bad. That's our conscious mind who does that. So what we need to do is leave all the judgment out of it. And then afterwards, when you're finished, then you open your eyes, you smile, positive self-talk. You did it. That was great. And that's how visualization can work. Really important to spend the time to find yourself a quiet place and to work through it. Yeah, absolutely, Ben. That is so true. That is very, very true. And it really can make the difference, especially in elite sports, of being somebody who is successful or somebody who is not successful, of shaving off that time of 1/100th of a second, which is a really short period of time. Absolutely. So yeah, looking at visualization as a tool to be able to learn how to do things. Yeah, race days is only visualizing perfect lines. Absolutely. Yeah, and when we talk about something like chair flying, what I know pilots will do when they're learning, when they're practicing chair flying, and especially student pilots who are just learning how to fly, they will often put a picture of a cockpit in front of them so that they can see all the gauges and the dials. If they're practicing their red pages or their emergency procedure pages, they will actually, while their eyes are closed or even while their eyes are open, whatever they're doing when they're visualizing, they'll move their hands to get that motor muscle memory to allow them to flick switches. They'll know where everything is and they'll practice that. And that's exactly what you can do to visualize. It will really, really help you to be able to be successful in whatever you're doing. So a really good tool to help you with whatever difficult situation that you may have. All right, so the other type of visualization that I want to talk about is that relaxation, that imagery, finding that happy place of where you can go, of being able to give your brain a rest and allow it to switch off for a minute and just to go someplace so that you can calm yourself down, so that you can re-energize yourself to be able to move forward. So not exactly like visualization where mental rehearsal, where we're rehearsing ourselves to be able to perform well, but this is like giving our brain a little break. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a visualization. We're going to go to the beach. So what I'd like you to do is find a comfortable position to be in. And I want you to think of the most beautiful beach, either one that you've been to or one that you'd like to visit, or one that you're just imagining right now. It can be a beach in the Caribbean. It can be in the Atlantic or beach in the Pacific, any place that you can imagine the most beautiful beach. And what I'd like you to do before we begin is to take that deep breath and let it out. And take another deep breath. And as you release it, imagine that you're releasing all the stress and tension that you're holding. Let it go. And what you can do is imagine the feeling that you have in summer of the sun above you, warming and relaxing the top of your head. You can imagine that feeling of warmth and relaxation moving down from your head, down to your shoulders, and releasing tension and relaxing your shoulders, your arms, your upper body, your hips, and down your legs, all the way to your feet. Relaxing any stress or tension that you're holding and letting it go. Almost as if it's being absorbed by the ground, by the floor, as you breathe in a sense of peace and relaxation and calm. And breathe out any tension or stress or anxiety. Now what you can do is imagine that beach in your mind's eye. You can imagine that you're looking out over the water. You might be standing on sand on a warm day, barefoot. You might be looking out over a dune. Whatever that beach is, whatever that water looks like, it's perfect, beautiful. You're alone, but you're safe. This place is perfect. You can see yourself on that beach in whatever way is most comfortable for you. Whether you're walking alone along the shore, through the edge of the water, or up higher, or through beach grass, under palms, on the rocks, whatever is there. You can take your time and look out over the water and hear the sounds that are there. If there are birds, the sound of waves rolling in and rolling out. The same way that your breath moves. And look out over the water and feel any wind or breeze. Smell the salt. Whatever you need is there. This place is yours. It's a part of who you are, and you carry it with you wherever you go. This is like a short vacation for your day to your mind and your body. And you can go to this place whenever you need to take a break, whenever you need to feel quiet, comfortable, safe, or at peace. So just spend a few moments seeing yourself at this beach, walking, lying down, resting, in whatever way is most comfortable for you, taking the time that you need. And now what you can do is think of one word to describe this place, to describe the beauty of the beach, of this place that you created. It might be the word ocean. It might be words such as peace or quiet. It might be the name of the place. And if you can, repeat that word in rhythm with your breathing for a few moments to bring your relaxation even deeper. If it's a word such as ocean, you can breathe in on the sound of O and exhale on the sound of shun, imitating the rhythm of the wave. You might use an affirmation, a positive statement such as, I am peaceful and calm and strong. Use that word or phrase as you continue to hold on to the image of the beach to help you relax even further. Know that this place is a part of who you are. It's a part of your mind, your body, and your heart. And know that you can go there whenever you want to, whenever you need time out of the day. You can look out again at this place, out over the water, listening to the sounds that are there, feeling what it feels like to be in this incredible place and to be at rest there, and to know that you can go back whenever you want to, whenever you need to, if only for a moment. And as you let go of the image of your beach, you can also let go of the focus word or phrase, knowing that either one of them or the combination can help you bring back a sense of peace, calm, relaxation, and that you can carry them with you wherever you go, and that they will always be there whenever you need them. And know that you can get this feeling back at any time, that you have the ability, the power, the creativity to be in this place and to have this place. But for now, you can let it go. And very slowly, you can begin to notice any sounds in the room around you and how it feels to be supported by the chair or whatever you're sitting on. And you can begin to move your fingers, your toes, feeling a sense of relaxation and knowing that you can carry that feeling with you. Carry that sensation of peace, of the calm of the beach with you as you bring your attention back and open your eyes. And know that you can carry this feeling of peace and relaxation with you into the rest of the day and into the evening, and you can turn there whenever you need to. All right, how was that? Were you able to visualize a beach? Awesome. Great. So a little different way of doing of using visualization. It's not to improve your mental performance. Well, I guess in a way it is because it's helping you to relax and refocus. But instead of focusing on a task or job, it's allowing your brain to have that little bit of vacation. And I think both of those types of visualization play an important role in building our resiliency, of allowing ourselves to move forward. Any questions about visualization or perspective or stages of change? All right, silence in the chat box, like it. So, as I said before in the last webinar, that when tools don't seem to be working, when we are having trouble, when working on resilience isn't helpful, sometimes the demands that are being placed on us just seem to be overwhelming and outweighing the resources that we have available. Then just like we need to go to the doctor or physio when we have injuries, we may need to seek additional resources for mental health, including any addictions that we have. So we have a list of resources here for you. The Canadian Forces Members Assistance Program, so CIFMAP, 1-800 number, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, is a referral service. So you, your spouse can call this line and get a referral to somebody in your area can help you with whatever issue you have. And they provide a series of sessions for you, between 6 to 8 sessions free per issue that you might have. For civilian employees, the number is the same. Canada's suicide hotline is there for you. Information on COVID-19, so go to the source. Government of Canada has some great information about coronavirus. Family information line is there for you, 1-800 again, 365 days of the year, bilingual service. And they actually have counselors on the line who understand military lifestyle and what you might be going through. And anybody, whether it's you, family members, your extended family, can call this line. You can actually schedule regular reoccurring appointments through the information line. So if you're having some issues, again, a great service to have. Sexual Misconduct Response Center is there to help you as well. Again, 365 days of the year. Kids Help Phone is there, and they just announced this morning or yesterday that Kids Help Phone is actually also accepting help or providing help to adults as well. So if you want to and you need to, When you're texting them, text wellness to their 686868 number, and they will be able to help you with that, or call the regular number so they can help you with that. And there's also the ARC line in support of COVID-19, which is the military information line around COVID-19. So those are some resources that are out there for you. I have one more video to show you. So I hope that for those of you who couldn't see it and hear it, you'll be able to hear it or see it on this one. So this was a video that Maya had shown yesterday as well. So really short. It's only a minute, 2 minutes long. So
I'm Dr. Mike. I'm Dr. Mike Evans. You know, sometimes you just have a crap day or a crap week, overwhelmed, sad, anxious, regretful. Of course, there's a million things we could talk about: depression, anxiety, problem solving, stress management, mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy. All good, but sometimes people just want to get through the day or week advice. And here's what I say: just gear down and stick to the basics. For me, these are sleep, turn off the TV and go to bed, activity, go for a walk outside or whatever you do, get perspective, write a letter that you probably won't send, eat, make a great meal, go on a date. I'm not talking romantic. I'm thinking about hanging out with a friend. Social connectedness is so therapeutic, and isolation is so insidious. Clean up your space a bit. If you have something to do that's tough, do what the economists call temptation bundling. Do the tough thing and then bundle it with something that gives you simple pleasure. Go to an afternoon movie, read a book in a cafe, whatever works for you. I write a lot, and I'm always struck by how I think a piece is done. But when I give it a few days and come back to it, I have a refreshed clarity that makes simple edits easy. I think life is a bit like this. I don't really have a name for this, or a load of scientific evidence, but I do think our society is very busy. And sometimes we just need to give ourselves a break. Pause, self-care, take a breath. Thanks for listening.
That will also build your resilience. So as I promised before, here is my email address. So if you wanted some information on some of the things that you had missed from last week or previous sessions that I've done, please fire me an email and I will send you the information that I can. If there are any questions, please feel free. You can either email them to me at that email address, or you're more than welcome to ask me a question now. No problem. I hope everybody has a great day. So again, if you've got any questions, feel free. You're welcome, Ilana. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, or you can type them into the chat box. I'll stay online for a few minutes to see if there's anything. The last class. Okay, Ilana, I will send you the link to the last class as well as the materials. So if you can send me an email with your email address, I will send that to you. I will send you the link for that with the copy of the materials that I had for that class. Not a problem. All right. Watch your email box. There is no certificate for these courses because of us doing them virtually, or no formal certificates for doing these courses. But we can have a chat about that afterwards. Okay, Lana? All right. I'm going to sign off, and I will see you next week.